Hi everybody and welcome to Mindset Monday. Here we are again. My name is Sally Garozzo and this is the place to be to get inspiration and motivation on how to be happier and more fulfilled in your life. So today's session is called Learn the Magic Ingredient to Creating the Life That You Want. So this is for you if you tend to give up at the first, second or third hurdle. This is for you if your focus is scattered and your behaviours and habits are a bit inconsistent. And this is for you if you're just not getting what you want in life, despite the fact that you think you've been trying. So grab a notebook and pen and let's dive into this together. So before I tell you what the magic ingredient is, first we've got to give this a little bit of context. So I want to ask you something. I want you to consider what is not showing up in your life the way that you want it to right now. So you can journal on this, you can take some time with this, or you might already know what this is. So I'm going to give you a few suggestions. Is it that you keep losing and gaining the same £5 over and over again, but you're unable to just go any further with it? Is it that you keep making the same amount of money every single year, but you never seem to be able to push through that glass ceiling? Have you had the same number of clients over the last few years and you want more, but you just don't seem to be getting any more? Do you keep attracting the same kind of partner over and over again in your life? Or is it that your health always seems to be sort of under par? You have these niggly complaints? Is it that you seem to be stuck in every area of your life? Or do you constantly swing between anxiety and depression, unable to feel hopeful, unable to control your mood? Or do you give up drinking or smoking for a month and then you go back to it, so you're unable to quit permanently? Or are you one of those people who does a healthy food shop once and then you revert back to takeaways and freezer meals and ready meals and pot noodles and things like that? Or are you the kind of person that just goes to the gym once and then that's it, you don't go back for the rest of the month? So there are so many ways that we tend to sabotage our well-being, and to be honest, if we're going to have what we want in our lives, we really, really do have to quit this on and off behaviour. So what separates those people? Lisa says pot noodles. Yeah, they're gross, aren't they? So what separates those people who have everything they want and those who don't? It's one magic ingredient, right? And that magic ingredient is this. It's consistency. It's consistent behaviour in the direction of what they actually want. So the dictionary definition of consistency is unchanging in nature. It's standard and it's effective over time. Now the word over time is the key here. It's the amount of times I hear people say, oh, it doesn't work. These positive affirmations, this meditation, it doesn't work. And I'm like, well, how many times have you done it? And they said, well, I tried it for a day, but it didn't make me feel any different. I'm like, you've got to do it more than a day. You've got to do it more than 3 days. You know, I gave up white refined sugar and I gave up alcohol 6 months ago. And only now am I starting to feel the consistent benefits of not having those toxic substances in my body. So you've got to be really, really patient with yourself. You've got to be consistent. These things take time, and you've got to have the ability to be able to chip away at them, just like a sculptor chipping away at the marble. So in other words, other words for consistency are stable, steady, constant, regular, even, uniform, orderly, unchanging, unvarying, unswerving, undeviating. So I would hope that you're beginning to get a little bit of a picture here as to what consistency is. And it sounds a bit boring, doesn't it? Some of those words sound really boring, don't they? uniform, orderly, unchanging, unvarying, unswerving. Gosh. However, in an age where most of us are wired for distraction and impulse and instant gratification, we need consistency more than ever now. So in a moment, I'm going to give you one of my top tips for helping you be more consistent. But first, I want to inspire you with some stories. And I really want you to watch until the end here so that you get the full picture. So, in every feel-good movie that you watch, where the main actor is going through this like hero's journey, very often you'll see this montage, won't you, of them doing what they need to do to get where they want to be. Maybe they're on a mission to get fitter, more healthier, or they want to get the girl, or they want to get the sale, or they want to get the promotion. So the music plays and you see these snippets of them going through these motions every day to enable them to get where they want to be. But in real life, we don't live in a movie. We don't have that gift of the montage, of being able to speed time up like that. We actually have to live it, and we have to work at it. And when the going gets tough or boring or hard, that's when we need the extra resilience to pull through, to create these habits. And as Lisa says, this routine and these rituals that actually mean we don't have to think about it, they become automatic. Because the sad fact is, life is not a movie, life is real. So have any of you seen The Pursuit of Happiness? I'm sure you will have done. So basically, you know, Will Smith's character, he's run out of money, he's got nowhere to go. And I'll never forget that scene where when they're on the train platform and his little kid says to him, "Dad, where are we going?" And Will Smith goes, "I don't know, son." It's just so heartbreaking. And they end up spending the night in a bathroom. And now every time I go into a public bathroom, I always imagine what it would be like to spend the night there, just to sort of get that visceral sensation of what it might be like. But it really humbles me, and it reminds me that, you know, anything is possible, really. We can come back from anything. But here's the thing. In the film, Will Smith's character is fighting for his existence, and he's showing up for meetings. He's ends up with this unpaid internship that he didn't realise was going to be unpaid, but you know, it's kind of seems like a good idea now. He's into it, and he's got no idea where anything is going to lead. And he ends up, he gets up every day and he goes out every day, even though he's broke, even though he's destitute, even though he's depressed, even though he's anxious. He's utterly exhausted. You see him running around, you know, with his bags and his suitcases. And every day he is consistent in his pursuit of happiness. He never gives up. And if you need a consistency boost, I urge you to totally watch that film. It's so inspiring. And the other thing I watched last night was The Moon, 8 Days to the Moon on BBC iPlayer. That was brilliant. And it gave me this idea that, you know, the world, the earth, was not created just like that, was it? It took millennia for the earth to be created, you know, rocks just bashing into each other over millennia, creating this heat, which is now the earth's core, and then the layers and layers and layers of the earth's core and the crust developing over millennia. You know, so things do not happen overnight. So I wanted to tell you about another friend, actually. I'm feeling a bit story-ish today, so I wanted to tell you about another friend of mine, called Maria Gardner, and I worked with her for about a year in around 2013, and she came to me for a singing lesson because I wasn't doing hypnotherapy then, and she had the most incredible voice I had ever heard. She literally sounded like Whitney Houston. And at the time I was doing my music degree and I was a songwriter, producer, and I really wanted to practice my stuff. So I asked her if I could work with her, if she could be the voice for some of the songs that I'd written. And we released 2 EPs together, and you can find them on Bandcamp. I'll pop a link somewhere. And so we created these amazing songs together, but after a year, you know, I felt our journey was done and we went our separate ways, because I actually knew deep down inside that she needed some experience. She needed to go through the struggle. She needed to learn. She needed to experience life. She was only in her early 20s. And she needed to grow into herself as an artist. And at the time, she was working for Costa Coffee on London Road in Brighton as a barista. And she loved her job. She was always so positive. She was annoyingly positive, actually, a lot of the time. And she ended up getting this another job at Legal & General. And she worked there for many, many years while she honed her craft as a singer. So I kind of felt like I had to let go of her so that she could learn by herself in a way. And she was massively inspired by drag. And as a gay woman herself with this huge voice and this huge personality, she created a drag character called Miss Disney. And when I found out about this, I knew deep down inside that this was perfect for her. It was perfect for her because it was controversial, because she's a female drag act. And I knew it was perfect for her because she always loved Disney songs. Now, here's the thing. Being an artist is not glamorous in the slightest. It's about 5% glamour, okay? Being an artist, as many of you will know, involves a lot of blood, sweat and tears, right? You have to create your art, you have to refine your act, you have to get it wrong many, many times, you have to take criticism, you have to schmooze for your gigs, you have to schmooze with people after your gigs, and sometimes you don't like who they are, and sometimes you have to drive for miles, you have to lump all your gear and hump all your gear up flights of stairs, get ready in a smelly toilet or a horrible small changing room with no mirror, and often you have to get on stage where maybe there's only a handful of people in the audience, and you still have to maintain that character, and it can be thankless. And for these types of careers, you absolutely need and require that consistency, that staying power. So I am going somewhere with this. I bumped into Maria on the beach last week, and we had a chat, and she told me that she had quit her job in Legal & General now, and she'd just come back from a 2-week tour in Portland, USA, with one of the drag queens off RuPaul's Drag Race. And I was blown away. She showed me this video of her singing Bring Me to Life in a Snow White, you know, the Wicked Queen from Snow White. She was singing Bring Me to Life, so apt, one of my favourite songs. And there must have been about 3,000 people in this audience screaming at her. And I was just like, oh my God, you have come so far, because she followed her passion. And I was also so impressed with her knowledge as well. She had become so much more confident at the chat bits in between. She'd done a lot of cultural research, and she was now taking a stand against the sort of hetero normalisation of Disney films. That was her shtick, if you like. She wanted to campaign for more gay relationships to be created in Disney films, and why not, you know? And, you know, I remember 5 years ago I was trying to educate her about Stonewall and the Stonewall riots, because she was this talented creature, but she didn't have much knowledge around. And so I'm so proud of her that she's actually, you know, 5 years chipped away at it and just become this incredible artist. And I know she's going to become mainstream eventually. So if you want to check her out, she's called at the Miss Disney on Instagram, at the Miss Disney. Definitely worth a watch. So that was a little sidebar there. But, you know, in my own work as well, so it's basically one of my personal missions to have 4 RTT clients per week. And I'm getting there, but in order to do that, you know, I've had to create these Mindset Monday videos so that I'm visible, so that I'm out there, and I'm showing the world what I can do, but also showing them what is available. So every Monday I create these videos, and I can tell you, some Mondays I do not feel like it at all. But I made that commitment to myself that I would show up and I would do it for you guys because you enjoy watching them, and you're getting a lot from them. And just because I'm not at 4 clients a week yet, it doesn't mean that I should throw the towel in and go, oh, this Mindset Monday malarkey is just not working. No. Even when no one books in, I make sure I keep going because I understand the importance of the consistency thing. Consistency is king. And when you make promises to yourself and you show up every time, you don't let yourself down, you create integrity. And integrity keeps you in alignment with your beliefs, your values, and the truth about who you really are. And when you're in alignment, you are very, very visible to the universe. And also, when I show up every week, when people start seeing me every week, they start to trust me, and they know I'm not some fly by the seat of my pants coach or therapist who's unreliable. They know that I have real staying power, that I'm really committed to this role, to this job, and that I really deeply care about what I do. So I like to think of consistency as a kind of sat-nav. So you've got to keep following the route that you've set yourself. If you keep taking these detours, you are never going to get to your destination. Now, of course, some detours are okay, especially if you learn from them. They give you feedback. But often the simplest path is to just keep going, keep chipping away at it, keep following that highlighted route on the sat-nav, and eventually you will absolutely get to your destination. You will get there, you just have to keep going. Even if you're at the end of your tether, even if you're knackered, exhausted, even if you just don't really have the inspiration or motivation. Because I truly believe that it's in the struggle that makes the end result worthwhile. Did you watch England's cricket match against New Zealand? It's just sports matches are so indicative of this kind of consistency. So as our first experience as human beings is one of struggle. When we're travelling down that birth canal, it is one of struggle. The very fact that birth is a challenge and a struggle makes it so worthwhile in the end. And the struggle doesn't seem to put women off having children. Millions of women keep on having children despite the pain, despite the struggle, because so much magnificence and wonder and awe is born out of it. Creation is born out of struggle, right? And this is where I believe consistency is key here. So in a moment, I am going to give you my top tip for remaining consistent in your own personal pursuit of happiness, whatever that may be for you. Maybe it's finding a job, maybe it's getting more clients, maybe it's more consistency or better with your mood, maybe it's creating more well-being, more health, better relationships, great sex, whatever it is. I'm going to give you my top tip, which will fit in with that. But first, I want to tell you about RTT. So, I am a rapid transformational therapist, and I'm also a well-being coach. And I help people bust through the blocks that are holding them back. And I do this through the use of the powerful subconscious mind. So rewiring your mind for consistency, for being consistent, is accelerated through this rapid transformational therapy, which is a 2-hour process done under hypnosis, as I said before, which utilizes the phenomenal power of the subconscious mind. So when I've got you under hypnosis, we do regression. We go back to scenes in your life where you might have picked up this belief that you can't be consistent, or that you have to sabotage yourself, or that you have to keep yourself small, or a belief that says I can't stick with anything, or a belief that says I'm not worth it. Or why you're resistant to feeling better, those sorts of things. Because even though you don't want something negative, your mind thinks you need it, and we can crack that code when we use the subconscious mind. So when you know the whys, you have clarity, and clarity gives you awareness, especially under hypnosis. So under hypnosis, we are very attached to the emotions of these memories, and when we have an emotional experience, we have massive leverage to change. So once we've dived into those scenes under hypnosis, we can then change the meaning that you gave to those scenes so that you can be free of any of the old programming, any of the old attachments, any of the old meanings that you might have attached to those memories that have written programs that have been holding you back. And now then you can begin to live your life as nature intended, with much more inner peace, inner calm, inner flow, but also with more consistency, with more staying power. And honestly, RTT has been one of the most transformational tools I've ever come across. I see it a lot in my practice, but I've also experienced it myself, and I've had lots of different therapies, but RTT has been the one that has really changed my life. And the reason I love it is because it is rapid and it is rooted in the science of neuroplasticity. So in RTT, we don't spend a lot of time going over your problems, unlike in counselling, for example, because that wires you to keep continuing with your problems. Okay, it wires you for problems. The more you focus on your problems, the more you get the experience of those problems. We go into the problem for clarity and understanding, but then we move into the installation process quickly. So it is solution focused RTT. So if you want to work with me, I'm going to tell you now what you get. So you get a free consultation with me first and foremost. This is where we have a chat. This is where we determine what you want to let go of and what you want to create in your life. This is very important. The success of the treatment is dependent on you knowing these things, which actually gets clearer through the consultation process. We then do the RTT process, which is 2 hours done via Zoom or done with me in Brighton. And at the end of the treatment, I record a 20-minute personalised recording for you, which I set to this lovely binaural music, which aids this rewiring process. And you listen to that for 30 days. That's why you don't need follow-ups, because you have the recording. You also get access to me via WhatsApp, so you get me as your pocket therapist. And we also have 2 30-minute coaching calls after your treatment to reflect and to understand where you're at. And this is absolutely essential for your change and transformation. So if you are thinking about working with me or you want to investigate it a bit further, please just go to my website, which is sallygarozzo.com. You can book in for a free consultation via my website, or just drop me a direct message on Facebook. Now, here's that tip as promised. So, the number one thing that you can do right away to help yourself become more consistent in every area of your life is this. Well, first of all, I have to give you one of the rules of the mind. One of the rules of the mind is that it has to move you away from pain and towards pleasure. So if you are thinking about your particular personal challenge as painful, your mind will try every trick in the book to make you avoid it. Hell, it will even create an illness for you. If I had £1 for the amount of singing students that I had in the past who text me and say, I can't come because I've got a cold, I would be a millionaire. So here's the thing, your mind is absolutely amazing, and you can actually link pain to something pleasurable, and you can link pleasure to something painful. So there are so many examples of people who have done this. One man's palace literally is another man's prison. One man's prison could be another man's palace, right? For example, how does one get to be an Olympian? They have to link pleasure to getting up at 4 a.m. and training hard. Some of them are even sick in a bucket because they are training that hard. They effectively lie to their minds, which you can totally do because your subconscious mind just accepts what is. It's very, very easy to lie to your subconscious mind. It's a bit dumb, really, and it just sort of believes what you tell it. It accepts whatever you tell it. So it's a very effective method. You can totally link pain to pleasure and pleasure to pain. So ask yourself this: what are you linking pain to, and how can you link pleasure to it instead? So if you've got a challenge, what are you linking? Are you linking pain to it, or are you linking pleasure to it? And the trick is to try to link this challenge to pleasure. So for me, I always link pleasure to the feeling of having accomplished something. So in the case of choosing like a salad over pizza, I'll say to myself, I'm really looking forward to feeling virtuous, to feeling wholesome, to feeling healthy, to having energy after this, rather than sluggish, guilty and bloated, right? For example, in the case of swimming in the sea, I'm looking forward to feeling refreshed, alive, invigorated, rather than focusing on the cold shock factor. If I focused on the cold shock factor, there's no way I would go in the sea. And a few years ago, I learned how to ride a motorbike as well, and that required a hell of an amount of consistency. You know, I could have easily stopped learning halfway through, but then I thought, well, I've spent all of this money, I might as well carry on spending the money and keep investing to actually get to my goal. Because if I quit now, I've wasted, you know, like £1,000. I might as well spend another 1,000 and get the bloody job done, you know. So I did, but it took guts to do that. So, if you want to be consistent, even when you can't see the results immediately, you have to focus on what you are going to get. And in the case of me learning to ride a motorbike, I just wanted to be up there in the front with the lads. I wanted to, I just had visions of myself taking my crash helmet off and doing that with my hair, you know. Sounds a bit self-flamboyant, but it kind of was at the time. So that kind of kept me going, really. And here's Donald watching, my fellow motorcyclist. Hey Donald, how are you doing? I'm just talking about the time that I learnt to ride a motorbike. Donald was one of the guys that I used to ride with. He kept me feeling very safe on the road. So where was I? I've got sidetracked here. I'm going to repeat that last bit again. If you want to be consistent, even when you can't see the results immediately, you have to focus on what you're going to get. But most of us focus on what we're going to lose or what we're going to miss out on. Most of us think, oh, you know, if I don't have that drink, I'm going to lose out on fun, connections and having a good time. But that's not true. It's only true if you think that. What's actually true is you're going to lose out on a hangover, which is positive. So we're coming to the end now. I want you to let me know what if this works for you or how this works for you. Let me know if you're what it is you're struggling with, what it is you need help on with a reframe, and I can help you with that. So just drop me a direct message and yeah, let's carry on the conversation. Cool, so that is all from me today. I hope you are well. I'm not going to be around next week because I've got Graham's kids down and we're going to spend some nice fun times in Brighton, but I will see you the week after. Take care, lots of love, bye.